Hi, cities. How are you doing? Welcome to Nine SM. Thank you so much for all the support. Hope you are doing great. This administration is really doing too much. And this is actually what some people woke up and said that they were going to vote for, and they did vote for him. And now people are actually suffering it. Because tell me how Republicans voted to deport US citizens, children receiving cancer treatment also included. So being a US citizen at this point in time does not guarantee anything. And I also learned that if you make any minor mistake, you might at the same time deported. And ICE is going around breaking into people's homes and all that. And some I learned that they are also taking away people's thing. All I can say is that everyone should really be very careful because this time is not the best time. It is only the Democrats that voted against US citizens being deported. And I am going to say this. I don't know how to fearmonger people and all that, but I think there is also a need for, we to have a heart to heart talk with our family, especially the younger ones, to be more careful. You are not talking to them because to let them know that something is happening, but just a heart to heart talk that will enable them understand what is going on in the country. I think that is okay. Let's get into this video.
So yesterday, Eric Swalwell sent out an Instagram video saying that Republican members of the House Judiciary had voted to allow ICE to deport American citizens. He offered no context, no further information, and some leftist activist accounts picked it up and used it as a way to fundraise. And I got very, very annoyed at this because, as I said in that video, it is not possible for a law to just be passed by a committee. So here's what actually happened. The committees in the House are working on markups for the budget. So budget reconciliation is in the works. Every committee has to say what they're going to cut and what they're going to add in order to hit the goals in the budget framework that the House and the Senate passed. So the Judiciary Committee is working on apparently funding for ICE. The Democrats in the committee offered several amendments to the funding that they're working on, and including one that said you cannot use federal funding to allow ICE to deport American citizens. They already are not allowed to do this. Now, of course, they've already deported a couple of very small children with their mothers, and they're using a loophole there that the mothers wanted the children to go with them as the reason for doing it. But so this law or this amendment to the bill is not necessary. It's virtue signaling, but it should have been an easy get. The Democrats also said, we'll drop every other amendment if you just agree to this one. The Republicans on the committee voted it down. They did not agree to the amendment, and then they continued on working on the other amendments. So what has changed? Nothing has changed. ICE still cannot send American citizens out of the country to wherever your great grandma is from. They are still going to continue to use loopholes to send as many brown people out of here as they possibly can, as they have been since January. The Republicans on the Judiciary Committee absolutely should have voted for this amendment. They absolutely should have. Not only is it common sense, but it would have given them a path out of, do I have a filter on? It would have given them a path out of the amendments that the Democrats were trying to get them to pass. And that means we need to go annoy them. So here are this is just from Wikipedia. You can look up the members of every committee on Wikipedia. These are the Republican members of the Judiciary who voted down this amendment. So if you recognize your rep, one more page. If you recognize your rep here, make sure they know that they should have voted to advance that amendment. We don't take Republicans seriously when they vague post and declare things an emergency without context on purpose to panic people. And I will not take Democrats who do it seriously either.
I need someone to tell me this is not true. Did they really just vote to allow for U.S. citizens to be deported with no due process? Did they really just do that? See, there's a couple of things that I need to point out as it pertains to the history of authoritarianism. There's a couple of things that authoritarians do. They attack universities, they scapegoat minorities, and they attack and dismantle systems that are in place to protect those who oppose them from their retribution. In other words, they dismantle systems that provide protection for people who would speak out against their regime, as a way to then attack those people, as a way to criminalize those people for simply practicing what we define as our First Amendment right of free speech. And we've already seen due process be attacked. We've already seen universities be attacked. We've already seen minority groups be scapegoated and attacked. So historically speaking, we have seen many of the practices of authoritarianism. We have also seen what we can define as a constitutional crisis, when the executive branch blatantly ignores the ruling of the judicial branch. So I need someone to explain to me the justification or reasoning behind why people feel it okay to continue going down the same path when we know how it ends. When those of us who have studied history understand the direction in which this train is heading. And I do want to offer a bit of encouragement, taking from the words that I heard yesterday by the former VP. Fear is not the only thing that is contagious. Courage is contagious as well. And right now, what they're trying to do is make people afraid to speak out, afraid to stand up for what's right and against what is wrong. Because there are some things that are objectively wrong, objectively incorrect. And we will not float around political jargon or undermine the gravity of what is happening by way of pursuing political correctness. We're going to say what it is. Some of these things are objectively bad. And right now we have a choice to make as to whether or not we're going to allow it to continue or speak out against it.
Okay, I think it's time we start talking about U.S. citizenship, because if you think being a U.S. citizen makes you safe from deportation under this Trump administration, I need you to listen closely, because right now, under Trump's second term, we're seeing something that we're never supposed to see in a constitutional democracy. American citizens are being deported. I'm talking about babies, cancer patients, legal residents, sent across borders, sometimes without hearings, without lawyers, and without their medicine, and without basic due process. That's not a mistake. That's not a glitch. That's a sign. 3 U.S. citizen children, one just 2 years old, another battling stage 4 cancer, were deported to Honduras with their mothers, and when the judge asked the government to verify if the mother really chose to take her children, it was too late. The plane had already taken off. Now, let that sink in. A U.S. citizen child with cancer was deported without her medication. And when Congress had a chance to put in protections to make sure that this never happens again, House Republicans voted it down. So I don't want to hear this isn't who we are, because apparently this is what we're becoming, okay? Unless we decide to stop it. And look, I get it. Trump says that he's only targeting criminals. But here's the truth. Once you break the law to exile citizens, once you ignore courts' orders to sideline immigration judges, you're not just fighting crime, you're fighting the Constitution. And even worse, Trump has already openly floated the idea of sending U.S. citizens, the so-called homegrown criminals, to foreign prisons. He even joked that mistakes are just part of life. That's not leadership. That is authoritarianism testing the waters. So here's what we have to understand, that the Constitution protects all citizens from unlawful exile. Due process isn't optional. It's a cornerstone of democracy. And when government starts picking and choosing who gets to stay based on politics, race, or convenience, nobody's safe. Our citizenship is truly safe. So we are witnessing the slow erosion of the rule of law, one executive order at a time. And if we don't fight back with knowledge, with votes, with lawsuits, with clarity, we're going to wake up in a country where your rights only exist until someone more powerful says they don't. So I'll leave you with this. Citizenship without rights is just paperwork. And democracy without accountability is just theater. Now's the time to choose fear or freedom. What side are you on?
To the Republican Party, I ask you once again, What the hell are you doing? For every last one of you to vote that it is okay for this president to have the power to deport U.S. citizens, for every last one of you to vote in favor of that, I really need to know what the problem is. Every American citizen, left, right, liberal, conservative, it does not matter. We need answers from you. And so far, people have been asking for answers in the town halls. People have been demanding answers when they call you. People have been showing up to Capitol Hill trying to get answers. You guys don't understand how serious people are going to get in trying to figure out what the hell is wrong with all of you. Because at this point, it is beyond just we are scared of the man in the White House. It is beyond the whole we had to put up with whatever we had to put up with during the Biden administration, so now we're getting our chance to wield the power that we've always wanted to wield. There is something deeper, there is something dark, there is something very insidious filtering throughout your party. How on earth can you justify signing off on something like this? I say this all the time. We understand that both parties have their issues. We understand that when it comes to Democrats, there are a lot of things that they do that even their own voters don't agree with. But at no time has that party ever signed off on this idea of due process no longer being a thing. Rights from actual American citizens being taken away. Disregarding orders from the Supreme Court, disregarding amendments from the Constitution. At no point in time have you ever seen the Democratic Party conduct business that way. So what is going on with Republicans? Y'all have to answer these questions. Seriously, what are you getting out of this? What is this doing for your psyche? What is this doing for your soul? And do you honestly think that when this is all over, because regardless of what any of you say, this is not going to be the power structure forever. You can disable all of the organizations that handle elections. You can set up any sort of guardrails you think will work to keep you from losing those seats in Congress and ultimately losing that presidency. But it won't work. Because it never has. Republicans have been trying to do things like this for a long time. Go back and look at it through history. But when it all falls apart, what are you going to say? Y'all just going to sit there and say you didn't have a choice? Are you going to sit there and say this is what the people wanted? This is what the people voted for? Because it's not. Are you going to keep playing that game of I was afraid, I was threatened, it was something that was out of my control? Because it's in your control. You could, at any point in time, literally like 5 of you could get together and say, we don't agree with this. And it would make a huge, huge difference. But you keep refusing to do so. That is not going to sit well with the people. And it's not even going to spill over into elections anymore. People are going to get very, very angry with you very, very soon. People you know, people who voted for you in your local districts. Are you prepared for that? Because I doubt when this moment in the sun where you guys think you control everything and have all this power and will have all this power forever, I doubt that when it is over, you're going to be able to go back to your constituents. You're going to be able to go back to regular people and just say that this was a part of doing business. I don't think people are going to vibe with that. So tell us now, before people just decide to stop asking this question altogether. What the hell are you doing?
So now that the House of Representatives has effectively passed a bill that now will go to the Senate that will legally allow the administration to deport U.S. citizens, I have some follow-up points of negotiation that I would like to give to you. Number 1, do I get to pick the destination? If you give me a list of like 5 to 10 countries, I will elect my top 3 and you get back to me on what you can do with that. Number 2, you're going to cancel my student loans, right? Because I can't use my education obtained here in the next country. I will have to go back to school. So you should probably go ahead and cancel that, as well as credit me back all the money that I have busted my ass to pay to you to pay those student loans off. Number 3, can I volunteer as tribute? Do we have to commit a crime to be deported? Is there a list to sign up? I think that would be a great idea if you're trying to like offload some people. I think many would volunteer for this. Number 4, credit scores, debt. You're going to cancel that, right? Because if I'm no longer a citizen, I don't think I should have to adhere to credit scores or pay back any debt that I acquired as a citizen here. That should be like null and void. I think that's a great idea. Number 5, are you paying for my move? I think there should be like some incentive, reimbursement, relocation assistance. I think you should pay for it. As long as I didn't commit a crime to get deported, if I volunteered, I think it should be on your dime. Because I've been paying my taxes for years now, and I think that's the least that you can do is go ahead and pay for my move to the next country. You get back to me, look through my terms. If you need a PDF, I can send that to you. Happy to negotiate further.
This is the Brownstone Center News Update. Breaking information that you should know about. I'm going to let that person speak for himself, and I'll come back and we'll discuss it briefly.
All right, you're not going to believe this. I'm just outside the House Judiciary Committee, and actually, I got a guy here who wants to say hi. Hold on. I'll take a picture with you real quick. I'm doing an Insta Live right now. You're on an Insta Live, but I'll get back to it in a second. Hop in.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks to you guys. Of course, thank you. All right. House Judiciary Committee right now. You're not going to believe this. I'm stunned that I have to tell you this. Republicans just voted, every single one of them, to allow Donald Trump to deport U.S. citizens. Not like deport unlawful, violent immigrants. No. They just voted in our committee to allow Donald Trump to deport U.S. citizens. That's where this is going. They just voted to allow that. I've never thought I would see this before. Never thought it would come to this, but that's where we are.
I have no words. This is not made up. This happened, maybe this was shared an hour or so ago. Your House Judiciary Committee, all Republicans have voted to deport American citizens. For more news and information that you can use, you can always head over to brownstoneworldwide.com, Cityscape Radio, and you guessed it, Brownstone Living Magazine. Follow me also on Substack at Paulette on the Mic, and also on YouTube at brownstoneworldwide.com. We'll see you around.
I'm not going to say anything about this video. I just want you to watch it and then put in the comments what you think about Republicans.
Your bill will deport more kids who are American citizens with cancer.
I don't think they want to answer that.
The silence is deafening.
Would the
It
gentleman
tells us
yield?
everything we need.
Would the gentleman yield?
Yes.
Let's do it a different way. How about this? Raise your hand if you do not think children with cancer who are American citizens should be deported.
You do not think.
Looks like it's all the Democrats and none of the Republicans.
This is all I got from this video, and all these stitches and videos you are seeing are a great example that America is not that great. Make America great, MAGA, Mugu. You mean Mugu, right? Now I am going to say this. I think everyone should, at this point in time, have a heart-to-heart talk with his or her family younger ones, right? Nephew, nieces, and all that. You are not having this conversation because you are fear mongering them, but you are having this conversation because it is really very necessary to have them. Sometimes some people are not updated with politics, right? And some happenings. As it stand, U.S. citizen might end up being deported. I mean, so now it looks like your passport or your birth certificate are not even that important anymore. Because if they can pick you as a citizen and send you somewhere else, so what else will they not do? And the worst part is that you might not know where you are being sent to. Another one is that you might actually not do anything. You probably did not do anything. I don't know if you understand. You did not do anything and you will be deported. And some people at this point in time are channeling their energy towards Black people instead of calling local their local constituency and all that, the senators representing them and their district. But they would rather choose to channel their energy to Black people. This is a message to Palestinians, pro-Palestinians, leftists, white leftists, all of you. You all are saying that people are being deported. And now, with this bill, it means more children also will be deported. Because tell me, how do you deport a citizen? And another one is that, see, if you are driving this time around, please be very careful. It is not fear mongering. I don't know how to fear monger people, right? That is not something that I do. I don't do it. I am always the one that will say, no matter, there is always a way out. I don't know if you understand. But this particular one, what I am about to say is that let us be very careful with how we drive, because I learned that some people were sent to some places because they made a turn at the wrong place. Just something that you would have fined the person or something. So why deport the person? I mean, my people, you all have really come too far for some certain things to be happening, and it is also not going to happen to you. But the best I can say to us is that we be very careful how we drive some certain things, and please make sure that your children are aware, your nephew, your siblings, make sure that you spread this message across. Let them know that they should be very careful while driving, and please, they should not protest in school. Because some people thought that voting a tyrant will make their life better. But no, your life will not be better. I don't know how they are going to feel, especially the people that voted for this man, seeing this man deport children with cancer, or seeing them deport somebody that probably simply made a tiny mistake. And now I learned that they might end up deporting people to Libya and some other countries. I think they are trying to make a talk with some African, I don't know, but any country at this point in time that will accept to have an agreement or to go into an agreement with United States to deport people to your country, you must really be the biggest. You're the biggest. Because it's only a fool that will see what is going on at this point in time and think it's okay. It is not okay. Bye for now.